In nature. I love being in nature because in nature there is no separation. Yes, there are still barriers, wide, raging rapids, sheer, towering cliffs, jagged mountain peaks, but there are no artificial boundaries, no borders to break the world into pieces where there would otherwise be a vast, expansive oneness. Most boundaries in nature are blended, seamless transitions from one place to the next, a seaweed-strewn, tide-washed beach where land gives way to the sea, an ancient mountain forest gradually thinning out to a few bowed, stunted trees. Rarely is change abrupt and jarring, split by a straight line as though brutally severed from the environment around it. Unlike man-made spaces, which force a rigid, crude form of order upon anything that does not conform to our convenience, through innumerable incremental adjustments and the occasional cataclysmic shift, nature has found balance, and settled independently into a state of stable, finely honed equilibrium. Take a step back and you see that nature is not necessarily wild because it is unruly, capricious, and chaotic, but because it is untamed by rules that refuse to cooperate with the spontaneous, unregulated rhythms that already govern it. We are obsessed with portioning the world out into manageable segments, bulldozing through ancient landscapes instead of diverting around them, building fences around things, both literally and figuratively, in an attempt to own and control what is contained within. We enforce invented laws and impose arbitrary limits. Walls and rules that shouldn't exist stifle, constrain, and constrict, blocking the invisible currents that carry forward so many drifting spirits. And all I want to do is smash straight through them in a steady, steerless course towards the horizon and beyond it. Admittedly, certain rules and boundaries must be set in order to prevent injustice, but only because we still haven't learned to stay our own selfish, greedy, apathetic impulses, because we are still unwilling to admit that there is no inevitability to conflict, and because we have forgotten how to exist in harmony with the land upon which we live. Unlike the human world, where I feel in constant competition with others for my place in it, wherever I find myself in nature is exactly where I belong. I stop being a target for judgment, an object of scrutiny to be ridiculed and rejected. Without this juxtaposition between who I am and who I am expected to be, between how the world is and how it should flow unobstructed around me, I am free. I become a wandering awareness no longer at odds with the world. My bodily boundaries blur outwards until they've dissolved completely, and I cannot tell the difference between where I end and everything else begins. In nature, I can dip my toes in a stream and feel the pull of the sea.